Hi, my name is Bernadette, and we're with the Rapid Response Northern School Team Support. In this presentation, an overview of the work of the Rapid Response Northern School Team, RNST, will be provided, including further detail about support options available to community schools during the time of crisis and non-crisis. Participants will learn how to access our RNST support and the teams engaging collaboratively with school leadership to ensure that individual school needs are the focus of our work together to help ensure optimal student well-being and learning. Natasha Menard-Morso from Keewatin-Patricia District School Board is here with us today.
Good afternoon. My name is Natasha Musso, and I'm the team lead for the Rapid Response Northern School Team. And we call that the RNST for short. Sorry, just to check, can you hear me?
I can hear you, yep.
Okay, sorry, I was getting a message on my screen.
Yeah, no worries.
So also joining for the presentation today, but not with me, obviously, because we're virtually, are my team members, Sherry Blake and Sarah Flowers. We are honored to be invited into this space to share with you the work of our team and how you might engage our team in working with your school, both staff and students. The RNST is part of the Keewatin-Patricia District School Board. As we are working across Northwestern Ontario and possibly come from points across Canada, I would like to encompass this as we take a moment to acknowledge the land. We recognize that many Indigenous nations have long-standing relationships with the territories upon which the Keewatin-Patricia District School Board works. Keewatin-Patricia District School Board acknowledges their presence on the traditional territory of many Indigenous nations. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this nation home. Please take a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and consider how we are and can each, in our own way, try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Bonjour, hello, bonjour. I'd just like to introduce myself and tell you a little bit more about myself prior to getting started. I have been working in education for over 18 years and with the RNST since it was created 2 years ago. I have worked in various roles in education and have taught from kindergarten to grade 10. My areas of specialty include special education and literacy. I am passionate about providing supports for youth that help them to achieve their academic and well-being goals. There's not a day working with youth that I haven't learned something new. It is these interactions that inspire me to learn more and work toward ensuring each student has access and support to a pathway of their choosing to live in a good way. If you haven't already, please share in the chat where you are joining us from and what you are passionate about. I always love to read what drives others to help our students. The work of the RNST is made possible through a variety of partnerships. Our team is fully funded by the Ministry of Indigenous Education and Wellbeing Division through a partnership with our local school board, Keewatin-Patricia District School Board. Our work would not be possible without the partnerships and support of Anishinaabe-Aski Nation, Grand Council Treaty 3, and each of the communities that have trusted us to work in collaboration with them to support their youth. We are grateful for their trust in us to do this important work. So what is the RNST? Our team is able to provide support to schools, both staff and students, in a variety of ways upon request. The primary purpose of our team when it was created was to support students and staff at school in response to a crisis that impacts on the school community. This support could happen as a result of a state of emergency, at an evacuation site, or as a result of a death of a youth or community member from the school. The support of the team is provided when the school is open, either during the crisis or to assist with the reopening of the school after a crisis situation. Each member of our team has specific training in mental health and well-being, including suicide intervention, psychological first aid, and crisis response training. Also, upon request, the team is able to provide non-crisis support to schools, including professional development, programming for students, teacher mentorship, and consultation. These are my amazing colleagues that together bring the work of our team to life. Our team consists of 4 educators. Each educator has over 15 years of experience with areas of specialty in special education, literacy, numeracy, and specific train-the-trainer certifications, such as behavior management systems, assisted suicide training, and restorative practices. When we travel for a crisis situation, we also have a crisis counselor who is able to support youth at the school. And this is in partnership with the Kenora Chiefs Advisory. How might you access the support of the RNST? So as I mentioned, we have 2 levels of support. We have crisis support and non-crisis support. Due to the nature of crisis, the main contact for requests is Shannon Bailey, our Superintendent of Education. She, in conjunction with our senior administration, determine if requests are approved and if the team will travel. We have developed a travel protocol that has been reviewed by the Northwestern Health Unit for the purposes of essential crisis support during this time. If a request to support in a community is made, consideration of that request will be discussed at the time, taking into account all the factors of our current global and regional reality, specifically the safety of the community and team members. If you are unable to reach Shannon due to office closures as a result of COVID-19 restrictions, please reach out to me using the cell phone indicated here, and I will ensure contact is made. For non-crisis support, I am the main contact. You need only phone, text, or email me to set up a meeting to discuss what you are thinking, and we can make a plan together as to how we may be able to support your school staff and or students. If you are unsure of how we may support your school, community, and just want to discuss some options, please don't hesitate to reach out to talk through some available options. We're always here to listen and to work together. What happens once a request is made for a crisis situation? Because it's a little bit more unique. Support is only initiated during a crisis situation upon request from the community, affiliated tribal council, and or NAN on behalf of the community. As the team lead, once a request is approved, I work closely with the community contact and principal to determine a plan to address the needs of the youth during the time of crisis. This collaborative nature, along with check-in meetings while in the community, allows the team to be responsive to the needs of the youth as determined by the leadership of the school and community. And even though we are in the midst of a pandemic, support requests for the team to travel to community are still being considered. Again, if you are ever unsure of whether the request for support is appropriate, please don't hesitate to reach out to have a conversation about potential supports. One of the things we do discuss with the lead in the community is determining the time of support and logistics. So how long the team may stay in the community, and of course, how we might make our way from the airport to where we will be staying. So you might be wondering what support looks like during a crisis situation. What types of things can we offer? And support for each school community is tailored to meet the unique needs of that community, because we know each community is diverse and unique in and of itself. These are some examples of the types of support we have been able to offer. However, our support options are not limited to these. The team is flexible and responsive to the individual needs of the community school. Really, our primary purpose is to be those extra set of hands to help the school community work through the crisis and heal together. We know that when a crisis impacts a school in a small community, many people are affected. The role of the team is to support at the school level to ensure that youth have a safe, caring environment to return to. In addition to this, support for staff who may be affected or struggling as a result of the crisis is also a priority, because we know teachers are the critical adults in student lives who make an impact. And we want to make sure that we support them in order to be able to do that. All team members are educators, so we are able to plan classroom programming, supply teach for staff that are away as a result of the crisis, and provide support for students to learn and practice healthy coping strategies as they process what has happened. Also, during times of crisis, we help to facilitate safe spaces within the school that youth can access if they are feeling overwhelmed. These spaces are supported by team members, and our counselor that travels with us is also available to support students at the school. We are in the process of developing some resources to help guide school staff during times of crisis. These include a document for administrators to help guide them through a crisis situation, suicide intervention, and postvention protocols. Our hope is that these documents will help staff feel more confident to support each other and ultimately their students. We know that things happen and crisis happens, and our role and our hope is to help make that process a little bit easier by providing support. Now, I also mentioned that we offer non-crisis support. So we're going to talk a little bit about what that non-crisis support may look like. At present, we are unable to travel for non-essential purposes. So all of our non-crisis support is done virtually. But we work with schools to help their staff and students to meet their unique learning needs through professional development, mentorship, virtual co-teaching, and consultation. Our non-crisis support, like our crisis support, is tailored to the unique needs of the individual school community. We work together with leadership to develop a support plan that aligns with their identified needs. Some of our work this year has included providing support to schools who have moved to online learning, with the in-the-moment training on how to use technology for learning, and follow-up question and answer support as teachers move through that process. Professional development has happened with several communities in a variety of areas. These have been in the areas identified by the schools and include such things as mindfulness practices in the classroom, trauma-informed practices, differentiated instruction, and special education. We have a list of topics that you see on the slide, but we are always open to looking at other topics with schools, and we're able to meet those diverse needs either through the team members that we have on our team or by accessing other colleagues to help us support those requests within the Kuwait and Patricia District School Board. We also host monthly PD sessions on a variety of topics, and these sessions are open to all of our partner educators. So even if you work at a school that is not connected with us, but you wish to join some of our professional development sessions, these are open to you. We also have other non-crisis support options that schools and individual educators may wish to engage with. We are able to support educators through mentorship, to work through problems of practice, develop lessons, and to provide support for new program implementation. The team has also recently developed 2 education kits, one for kindergarten to grade 3 and the second for grades 4 to 8, that may be requested by communities during times of evacuation. If your community is evacuated to a site, and I'm going to use Thunder Bay as an example, we're able to send these kits upon request to your evacuation site so that you have ready to use educational materials such as games, art supplies, books, and easy to use lesson plans to help engage youth in learning. At this time, I invite you to ask any questions you have or to share your thoughts and/or comments.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Please remember that you can post questions either under Q&A or in the chat. Some questions we have here. What do we need a community to provide for the team to travel to support to their school during a time of crisis?
So as I had mentioned before, we are a fully funded team through the Ministry of Indigenous Education and Wellbeing. As such, when we travel to communities, it is at no cost to the community. We also pride ourselves on being self-sustaining, which means that we come prepared to sleep. We know that communities don't necessarily have the infrastructure sometimes to support a large influx of crisis response workers. So we come prepared with our own cots, and we also come prepared with our own meals. So we need a space of some sort to be able to set up in and access to some kitchen facilities. And in some of the communities we've been in, this has meant that we've stayed in the school where we can have access to the kitchen in the school, but we don't require to have hotel accommodations in order to be able to travel.
Thank you. Are you still able to travel to respond to a crisis during the pandemic?
As we know, many communities are closed to outside travelers, and with good reason, because the pandemic is amongst us. We have coordinated with our Northwest Health Unit in order to come up with a safe way to travel. That being said, all requests will be considered, but it will be taken into account at the time our current global and regional realities. So we want to always make sure that if we are traveling, it's safe for us to do so for the community members and for the team members. So I guess what I would say to that ultimately is if there is a community that is looking for support for a particular crisis situation at a school, please reach out and we'll see where that conversation goes right now.
Anna Fern Kakagamic wants to know, what communities have you been a support to already?
So we have been a support to a number of communities in our first couple of years. And those communities include Casablanca, Big Trout Lake, North Spirit Lake, Bearskin Lake, Long Lac First Nations. We've done some work with Fort Severn. We've done some work with Slate Falls. This is not all crisis situations. These are also non-crisis support. We've done some work with Matagami First Nations. We've done some work with Webequie First Nations. So I'm trying to remember off the top of my head all the different communities. There's been multiple communities that we've been engaged with for either crisis support or non-crisis support.
Do you have any ongoing non-crisis supports that you offer for individual teachers?
We do. For individual teachers, we're always open to mentorship. We know that new teacher induction programs are not always something that's offered in the federal system. So we can't offer a formal program, but we are, as we said, experienced educators that if a new teacher or just an experienced teacher who's looking to connect and work through problems of practice and looking for resources, we encourage you to reach out to us. And we also have ongoing professional development sessions every month, which we advertise through our partner contacts via email. And we also advertise on our Facebook page. So I encourage everybody to search RNST on Facebook and follow us. On there, we share educational resources, mental health resources, and then of course, any of the PD opportunities that are offered to educators as a whole. So it's a good place to see what we are currently doing. And it's also a really great place to reach out to us and ask any questions as an individual educator.
Thank you so much, Natasha. Do we have any more questions from the audience? On the right side of the screen, you can type in at the bottom any questions you would like to ask Natasha, either in chat or Q&A.
I'm wondering, Emma, if people will have access to the presentation that I shared.
I do believe the entire video will be provided afterwards, after the event. So staff, teachers, educators will have access after as well.
Okay.
Oh,
Are
yeah.
people able to grab a link from the chat? If I put something in the chat, are people able to grab a link from the chat?
I can post it in the presentation.
Okay. I will just share the link to the presentation because it does have our contact information, and it does have a link to our brochure that details further our crisis response services.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation, Natasha. On behalf of Bearskin, Anishinaabe Nation, I would like to thank you. And I think that everybody who is here finds comfort knowing that they can still reach out for assistance even in these times. I do recommend you look on your Facebook page, RNST, for all the resources that you do have available for everybody. It seems like a really good place for resources and even just help or knowledge of what's out there for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Bernadette, and thank you everyone for inviting me into this space to share about our team today. We look forward to hearing from people, and we appreciate you taking the time today to learn about what our team does and how you might choose to engage with us. We wish you well. Miigwech.